Let me tell you the kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt, it reconstructs you. I was fired,
Disgraced.
publicly humiliated. And the person behind it? My best friend. Or who I thought was. This isn't just a revenge story. It's a play-by-play takedown of someone who smiled while stabbing me in the back. So if you love watching fake friends crash and burn, hit that subscribe button. Because by the time we're done, she won't have a name left to ruin. Asterisk. Let's begin. I was 26 when it happened. The worst betrayal of my life. And like most horrible things, it started on a Thursday. My name is Marley Grant, and at the time, I was one of the rising stars at Venvox Media, a glossy online publisher that made noise with podcasts, investigative scoops, and corporate partnerships that paid obscene amounts of money. I wasn't rich. I wasn't connected. I got in because I worked harder than anyone else in that building. Late nights, weekend re-edits, and a content campaign that got 3 million views in a week. Yeah, that was me. So when I walked into work that morning and saw security waiting at my desk, I knew something was wrong. "Marley Grant?" the man asked, as if he didn't already know. "Yes, you need to come with us." Heads turned. Whispers started. I looked toward the glass-walled office in the corner. Jordan, our VP of strategy, stood there, arms crossed.
Cold. Silent.
He used to smile at me. Now, he looked like he'd never known me at all. 10 minutes later, I was jobless. No warning. No performance review. Just a cold voice reading off a list of serious policy violations I didn't commit. Theft of confidential material. Plagiarism of an unreleased campaign. Leaking pitch decks to competitors. I couldn't breathe. It was like being pushed off a cliff with your hands tied. And the worst part? They had evidence. Files. Email logs. Cloud storage showing activity under my login. I told them it was fake, that I'd never done any of it, but they didn't care. I walked out of the building with a cardboard box and a broken reputation. It started raining. I didn't have an umbrella.
Poetic. But the twist?
By the time I got home, someone else had already taken my place. Her name? Brittany Cole. Brittany had been my best friend since sophomore year of college. We were inseparable: brunches, job interviews, double dates, even matching tattoos, don't ask. She used to call us the blonde ambitions. But under the surface, Brittany was a ticking time bomb of insecurity. Her content flopped. Her campaigns underperformed. And even though we entered Venvox together, only one of us got promoted.
And now?
Only one of us was still employed. I scrolled through Instagram and nearly through my phone. There she was, smiling in my office chair. Caption: "Big changes ahead. Can't wait to show you what I'm cooking." Briefcase collision. People in the comments were tagging me. "Wait, where's Marley? Isn't this her job? She stole this girl's life?"
I didn't sleep that night.
I stared at the ceiling for hours, going over every memory, every brunch, every moment she said, "I've got your back." Until I realized she had planned this. Every
step.
I started digging. First up, my laptop. I hadn't wiped it when I was fired. Rookie mistake. But also, blessing in disguise. Because deep inside my drive, buried under random folders, I found a screenshot with a timestamp. It was an email chain between Brittany and Jordan. 2 weeks before I was fired. Brittany Cole. "Once she's gone, I'll have full access. I'll get you the deck before the meeting with Evermark." Jordan Davis. "Just make sure there's no digital trail. Once it's confirmed, I'll clear the slot." I froze.
She didn't just backstab me.
She sold me out. For a promotion. For clout. For the Evermark deal, a $7.2 million ad buy that I had worked on for 6 months. Jordan and Brittany framed me to move me out of the way. And they left just enough evidence to keep HR quiet. That's when something inside me snapped. No more crying. No more wondering why. It was time for revenge. Step 1. I went silent. Blocked Brittany. Deleted socials. Let her think I was broken. Meanwhile, I was watching. I contacted a girl named Emery, someone Brittany had screwed over in college. She used to intern at a startup where Brittany borrowed a pitch idea. I also called Chris, my old coworker, who'd just been laid off. He had a copy of the campaign I supposedly plagiarized. Together, we started building a case. Then came step 2. I took a freelance gig at a PR firm that worked directly with Evermark. Totally off the books. Different department. Different alias. My role? Internal audit assistant. Translation: I now had access to Brittany's campaign performance reports. And let me tell you something, she was flopping. Hard. Her analytics were fake. Her engagement was padded with bots. The campaign was bleeding money. And I had proof. Step 3. Send it all anonymously to Evermark's VP of Advertising. I didn't just send the data. I sent the emails, the fake logs, the manipulated stats, the betrayal, all wrapped in a neat little PDF titled, The Truth About Brittany Cole. 2 days later, Evermark pulled out of the deal. Venvox's share price dipped 11%. Jordan's name hit the press in a story about mismanaged media strategy. And Brittany? She posted a vague Instagram story about taking a step back for mental health.
Yes, sis. Take all the steps you want.
But I wasn't done. Because I wasn't just going to ruin her job. I was going to take everything. You'd think Brittany would have gone silent after losing the Evermark deal.
Nope.
She doubled down. Suddenly, she was doing IG lives from overpriced brunch spots, filming day in my life as a media exec TikToks, and pretending like her fake success hadn't just collapsed under her stilettos. But while she posed online, I was moving in, literally. She lived in a luxury apartment complex downtown, the Paragon, all glass balconies and overpriced granite. I knew because she used to brag about the rooftop pool and 24-hour concierge. So, when a unit opened up 2 floors above hers, I pounced. I drained my savings, used a fake freelance contract to prove income, and signed a lease the same day. The leasing agent even smiled and said, "We have another young professional just like you on the 17th floor." Oh, I know. Step 1. Familiarize. I started hanging out in the gym at the same time Brittany did. I knew her schedule: cardio at 6 a.m., Pilates on Sundays. At first, she didn't notice me. I wore a hat, AirPods in, acted invisible. But I was watching her. The fake smile to the trainer. The annoyed look when someone else used her elliptical. The way she scrolled through comments on her own posts over and over. Step 2. Infiltrate. I joined the same wine club Brittany was a part of, Vino and Vibes. Hosted in the building's rooftop lounge once a month. She almost dropped her glass when she saw me walk in. "Marley?" she asked, voice pitched high. I smiled. "Oh my God, hey Brittany."
Wow.
Small world. Her eyes darted to the others around us. She couldn't cause a scene, so she faked a smile right back. "Didn't know you lived here. Just moved in. Needed a reset. Life's funny, huh?" She nodded too fast. She was spiraling. Beautifully. Over the next few weeks, I played it cool. We weren't friends again, but we were in proximity. She saw me. I saw her. And every time she saw me smile, she didn't know if it meant peace or war. That's exactly where I wanted her. Then I moved to step 3, Cameron. Brittany's boyfriend of 2 years. The one she never posted because she was afraid someone would steal him. Cameron was tall, athletic, worked in tech. A product designer. We'd only met once before, briefly at a work party.
But now?
I ran into him at the cafe across the street. Totally planned. He didn't recognize me at first. But when I told him who I was, he raised an eyebrow. "Wait, you're Marley? Brittany's old friend." I smiled. The one and only. We talked for 10 minutes. Then 20. He was kind, polite, curious. He asked about my work. I told him I was doing freelance brand strategy now, focusing on ethical startups.
Wow.
That sounds way better than Venvox's soul-sucking content mill. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, I thought Brittany loved it there. He smirked. She loves the title. But trust me, she's miserable. We exchanged numbers. Strictly professional, of course. But you know where this is going. Over the next few weeks, I kept it slow. I invited him to a networking mixer. He showed up alone. We got drinks once. Then again. And every time he talked about Brittany, it got darker. She's different now. She's obsessed with engagement numbers. She doesn't even laugh anymore. I didn't badmouth her. I just listened and let the cracks widen. Then came the birthday party. Cameron invited me to Brittany's birthday. He said she didn't want to throw a big thing. Just a small rooftop gathering at the Paragon. You should come, he said. She'll pretend to hate it, but she'll love the attention. I pretended to hesitate, then agreed. I wore a black satin dress, low cut, subtle heels. Walked onto the rooftop like I belonged there. And when Brittany saw me, her face froze. Cameron invited me, I said casually. Hope that's okay. She nodded stiffly. The whole night, she kept glancing at us.
Cameron and I talked, laughed.
We even danced once, harmless, but long enough to twist the knife. Then came the cherry on top. Cameron posted a photo the next day. A group pic. Harmless. But I was standing next to him.
And he tagged me.
Brittany saw it. Because an hour later, I got a text. Brittany, we need to talk. I let her wait. Then replied 5 hours later. Me, sure. Wine at your place. She agreed. I showed up with a bottle of Pinot and my best poker face. She poured 2 glasses. Didn't even offer to hug. So, she said flatly. You and Cameron? What about us? You know what I mean. I tilted my head. I'm not sure I do. Her jaw clenched. You're my building. You're hanging out with my friends. You're showing up at my events. Now my boyfriend. I sipped. Brittany, I don't control where people invite me. You're doing this on purpose. I'm existing. You don't get to erase me and expect me to stay gone. She stared at me, eyes wide. You're still mad about Venvox, aren't you? I smiled. And for the first time, I let the truth show. Mad?
No.
I'm just getting started. She flinched like I slapped her. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and looked her dead in the eyes. You thought you could steal my life and walk away. But I'm not here for revenge, Brittany. I'm here to replace you. And with that, I walked out. I could feel her rage burning through the walls. But she wouldn't scream. She wouldn't post. Because if she did, the truth might come out. And her world would fall apart even faster. Cameron was mine. Not in the romantic sense. Not yet. But in the way that mattered, he trusted me now. We had weekly coffee meetups, shared industry gossip, and slowly he began bringing up Brittany less and less. That's how you know someone's fading from your heart. When they're no longer the first name you mention. They're just a ghost behind your size. But I wasn't done. Because there was one thing I hadn't cracked. Why Brittany moved in silence the week before I got fired. She'd gone completely dark for 48 hours. No social posts. No texts. No calendar events at Venvox. And then boom. My termination. Her promotion. All in perfect sync. It didn't make sense. Until I remembered something Emery, her old college rival, once said. Brittany doesn't just cheat to win. She makes sure you can't even show up to play. I started digging into that 48-hour window. Checked time stamps. Email logs. VPN traces. Anything I could find. And then I found it. An Uber receipt Brittany had accidentally screenshotted and uploaded to a shared cloud folder 3 months ago. It was dated 2 days before I was fired. Drop-off location. Beverly Hills Medical Center. Time. 3:12 p.m. It stood out. Because Brittany had once told me she was terrified of hospitals. She'd skip flu shots to avoid going near one. So, what was she doing at a private care facility just days before staging my downfall? I knew someone who could help. Alicia, my cousin, worked front desk at Beverly Hills Medical. I asked her a simple favor. See if someone named Brittany Cole came in around 3 p.m., 2 days before February 8th. Alicia texted back 10 minutes later. Yup. Brittany Cole. Intake form filed. Signed under Women's Wellness. Details? Says DNC procedure. Private billing. I paused.
DNC.
Dilation and curettage. That wasn't a spa day. That was a pregnancy-related procedure. My heart slowed. I sat back in my chair, mind racing. She had been pregnant, and based on the timing, she would have been about 10 weeks along. I didn't care about her personal life. I'm not that kind of vengeful. But then I remembered what Brittany told Cameron the night of her rooftop birthday, after too many glasses of wine. They were talking about having kids. And she said, "I don't know if I ever can. My body's weird." Cameron nodded, comforted her. He had no idea. She lied to him about everything.
And now?
I had proof, but I didn't want to weaponize it like a grenade. I wanted it to feel like a slow burn. So I invited Cameron to lunch at a little outdoor cafe near the Grove. "I've got something strange," I told him, sliding my tablet across the table. I didn't go looking for it. I just found it in an old shared folder from our Venvox days. He opened the screenshot,
Frowned.
then looked up. Why was Brittany at a medical center? I stayed quiet. Let him connect the dots.
He zoomed in.
Read the procedure type. Then looked stunned. His face drained. "I don't understand." I played innocent. "I thought you might know. You two were together then, right?" "Yeah, but she told me she had a migraine that weekend. Said she was sleeping it off." He didn't say much after that. Just quietly paid the bill and said he needed to go for a walk. That night he messaged me. "Thanks for telling me. I talked to her."
She lied.
Said it was just a checkup at first, then finally admitted it. "I'm sorry."
No.
"I'm glad I know now. I've been thinking about proposing." Imagine that. You deserve someone honest. So do you. 2 days later, they broke up.
Publicly.
Brittany deleted every trace of him from her socials. Blocked him. Unfollowed me again. Went completely quiet. And that's when I made my next move. Step 4, the apartment. The Paragon had a weird internal rule. If a unit went unrenewed after 30 days post-lease expiration, it became available to new tenants without notice. Brittany's lease ended on July 1st. She assumed she had until July 31st to renew. But I knew the leasing manager.
Knew he had a crush on me.
So I waited until midnight on July 30th and applied for her exact unit. By noon the next day, I had the keys. She came back from a weekend in Napa and found her code deactivated. I was inside, sipping tea on her old couch. "Hey there," I said as she banged on the glass door. "You can't be serious," she screamed. I unlocked the door. "Just a crack." "I gave you my job," I said sweetly. "Figured you might want me to hold your space, too." Her eyes flamed. She stepped back like I was radioactive. "You're insane." "No, Brittany," I said, stepping fully into the doorway. "I'm you, but better." She stormed off. Didn't even try to argue. Because deep down she knew. She lost. The next week, she quit Venvox. Posted a dramatic farewell post. "It's time to protect my peace. I'm choosing me." No one believed it. Because I anonymously leaked screenshots of her bot purchases, fake engagement tracking, and that sneaky Evermark betrayal. The brand partnerships dried up. The influencer deals evaporated. One by one, her bridges burned. She became just a girl with an old laptop and 30K dead followers. And I was just getting started. Cameron and I, still talking, still texting, still growing. Not because I was trying to steal him anymore, but because for once I was seen. Not as the backup. Not as the stepping stone, but as the girl who outplayed the queen. When Brittany vanished from the spotlight, I thought it was over. No more Instagram thirst traps. No rooftop selfies. No fake collabs with brands she'd never spoken to. Just digital silence. But you know what they say about the desperate? They don't fade. They mutate. It started with a text from an unknown number. "You think you've won. You haven't. Check your email. XO." I froze. No name. No sender ID. But that XO? Only one person I knew weaponized affection like that. Brittany. I check my email. One new message. Subject line. "FYI, might want to get ahead of this." Attached was a PDF. A report. It looked like an HR complaint, formatted like a real one, complete with Venvox letterhead and timestamps. Allegations: harassment of colleagues, emotional manipulation, unprofessional conduct, unauthorized data sharing, all supposedly filed by me.
About me.
And the recipient? The PR firm I'd just landed a permanent contract with. Brittany had faked an internal whistleblower complaint and sent it straight to my new employer.
Trying to sabotage me.
Again, the damage could have been instant. But this time, I wasn't her prey. I was her shadow. I immediately called Priya, my new manager. Hey, just checking in. Have you gotten any weird emails?
She sighed.
Oh, that nonsense?
Yeah, we saw it.
Obvious forgery. Our tech lead flagged it in 5 seconds. I laughed in relief. Someone really hates you, she added with a smirk. You must be doing something right. Still, I was pissed. This wasn't just petty. It was criminal. So, I dug in again. Checked the metadata on the PDF. And guess what? She used the same editing software as the deck she borrowed from me back at Venvox. Same version. Same export ID. I finally had digital proof that linked her forged file to past fraud. This time I was taking it to someone who mattered.
Cameron.
I hadn't told him everything yet, but I invited him over to the apartment. Yes, still hers in a way, which made it deliciously poetic.
He brought wine.
I brought truth. Remember when I told you Brittany was the one who framed me at Venvox? I asked as we sat on the balcony. He nodded. Well, she just tried it again. I handed him the tablet, showed him the complaint, then the metadata. The matched her software ID. His eyes darkened. I can't believe this. I nodded. She's not just bitter. She's dangerous. He set the tablet down, rubbed his jaw. I didn't want to believe it before, but now, his voice cracked. I spent 2 years loving a ghost. Then he looked up. I'm sorry she did this to you. I shook my head.
No.
I'm glad she did. Because if she hadn't, I'd still be loyal to someone who never deserved it. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Silence. But not awkward. Weighty.
Real.
That's when I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Not pity. Not guilt. Respect. 3 days later, Brittany went live on Instagram. Like clockwork. Hey guys, she began, voice trembling. I know there's been some confusion about my break from social media, but I want to be honest. She sniffled. I've been dealing with intense bullying and harassment from someone I once considered a friend. I choked on my tea. She continued. She's been trying to steal my career, my apartment, even my partner. Spoiler. I hadn't stolen anything. I earned it. She left it unguarded. And while I've tried to protect my peace, I can't be silent anymore. She ended the video with, "This is my truth. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, I stand with you." The comments blew up. Half were heart emojis from clueless fans. The other half, well, at Truth Siren. Girl, you literally got caught framing her at work? At Noti or Minion. Didn't you forge HR files and send them to her new job? At Campfire_gossip. Is this satire? Turns out, someone leaked the metadata comparison to a gossip blog, and the screenshots went viral. Her truth unraveled in less than 24 hours. By morning, her name was trending under #BackstabberBrit. Then came the final twist. Venvox's internal audit team, still dealing with legal fallout, launched a retroactive review of Brittany's tenure. Guess who they called in for a statement?
Me.
I walked back into that glass building head high. Spoke for 22 minutes. Brought receipts. When I left, the receptionist, someone who used to ignore me, smiled and said, "You look different." I smiled back. I am different. Brittany? She tried to post again, but the damage was done. She went private, deleted Twitter, moved out of the Paragon. Rumor is, she fled to Arizona, a city that doesn't ask too many questions. And me? I got promoted at the PR firm, landed 2 new clients, and on my next lunch date with Cameron, he asked a question I never expected. Do you ever feel sorry for her? I paused.
took a sip of my drink,
then said calmly,
"No."
because she never once felt sorry for what she did to me.
He nodded.
We clinked glasses. And in that moment I realized this wasn't revenge anymore. It was justice. For a week, things were quiet. Too quiet. No Brittany sightings. No petty drama. No anonymous sabotage attempts. It felt like closure. Until I got a call that flipped everything. "Hey Marley, this is Theo, remember me?" From IT back at Venvox. Theo had helped me recover my Venvox files months ago. We weren't close, but he was always fair.
Honest.
I hadn't heard from him in ages. "I've got something you'll want to see," he said. "And it's bad." We met at a boba shop downtown. He brought a flash drive. I brought my nerves. Before I left Venvox, he said, I backed up a few internal flags I was tracking for legal compliance. I was doing some spring cleaning and found this one tied to your account and Brittany's.
He slid over the drive.
Inside was a folder labeled /shared/logs/ghost_trace. I opened the top file. A digital signature. But not Brittany's. Not Jordan Davis either. It was my former manager,
Tasha.
My stomach dropped. Tasha was my direct boss for 2 years. She mentored me, defended me in meetings, encouraged me to pitch higher. When I was fired, she didn't say a word,
Didn't reach out.
I assumed she was too scared. Now I knew the truth. She'd helped frame me. The metadata showed she'd approved admin override on my login 72 hours before the incident. That meant she gave Brittany and Jordan backend access. She even left a note. Temporary override granted. Delete after Friday. That's why the files had looked legit. Because they were. She authorized the access herself. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled further and found another log. Payment transfer, Venvox consulting expense, $18,500. Description: confidential strategy adjustment support. Recipient: T. Wallace. Tasha's last name. They paid her to do it. That's when the rage came back. Brittany didn't act alone. She was just the face. But Tasha? She made the betrayal official. She sold me out for less than 20 grand. I called Cameron. Told him everything. He was stunned. She mentored you. She gave your reference letter. Exactly, I said. And all the while, she wasn't on it. His voice turned dark. Let's burn her. But I wasn't reckless anymore. This time, I wanted to expose her strategically. I reached out to Lexi, an independent journalist who'd once interviewed me for a startup success piece. She now ran a podcast called Power/Hungry, all about corruption inside corporate America. I pitched her the story anonymously. She bit instantly. We spent 3 days going over emails, logs, and bank transfers. Then she aired the episode.
Title:
The Mentor Who Cashed In. How a young woman was framed by her boss, her friend, and $18,000. The fallout? Nuclear. Tasha had moved on to a senior exec role at a Fortune 500 firm. They placed her on immediate leave. The blogosphere tore into her. The episode hit number 7 on Spotify. And Venvox issued a public apology to me. For the first time, I wasn't just that girl who got framed. I was the survivor who turned the system inside out. Brittany, meanwhile, posted a selfie with a fake smile. Caption: Growth is uncomfortable, but necessary. The comments were off. Tasha emailed me a week later. Subject: Closure? Message: I was wrong. I should have protected you. I lost more than I gained. I hope someday you'll understand.
I didn't respond.
Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't need to. I was winning, but I still wasn't finished. Cameron and I started spending more time together. And I saw him in a new light. Not just as the boyfriend Brittany lost, but as someone who saw the storm and stayed. One night, we were walking by the pier.
Cool air.
Dim lights. He stopped, looked at me, and said, I need to ask something that's been on my mind. I blinked.
Sure.
Shoot. He took a breath. Did you do all this just to hurt her? Silence. Waves in the background. And then I answered. No, I said. I did it to heal me. Her destruction was just a bonus. He nodded slowly, then kissed me. And for the first time in years, I felt like the main character in my own life. I should have known she wouldn't stay buried. Brittany Cole didn't know how to lose quietly. While Tasha vanished from headlines and I finally started breathing again, Brittany was quietly planning her last move. A move so vile, so calculated, that for the first time in this entire war, I almost broke. It started with a simple notification. New credit account opened in your name. My blood ran cold. I hadn't opened anything.
Logged in.
Checked the source. It was real. A $12,000 line of credit. Opened at a high-end furniture retailer. And the billing address? My old apartment. Brittany's former unit. I drove there in a fury. Demanded to speak to building management. They said someone matching my description had shown them an ID and signed a temporary access lease for just 3 days. Enough time to walk in, use my name, spend my money. I was being framed again, but this time it was criminal. I filed a police report, started the credit dispute process, and told myself it was just the last gasp of a woman who had nothing left. But I was wrong. She had one more thing to destroy.
Cameron.
We were getting closer. Late night walks turned into early morning cuddles. Laughs became something deeper. And then, he ghosted me. For 2 days, no texts, no calls. I knew something was wrong. Then he messaged, "Can we talk?" We met at our usual cafe. He looked pale.
Ashy.
Held out his phone. There was a screenshot. A message from my number. Sent to him at 2:14 a.m. Hey Cam. Just wanted to say, I never really cared about you. You were just another step in my payback plan. But thanks for playing. You were a great pawn. I felt my heart stop. I never sent this, I said, my voice hoarse. He nodded, but slowly. You swear? Cameron, look at me. His eyes searched mine, and something softened. I want to believe you, he said, but everything's so messy now. And
He stopped.
I just need time. I watched him walk away. Not angrily, just broken. Brittany had finally found my weak spot. Not my job. Not my apartment. Not even my reputation. My peace. I went home, sat in silence. Then pulled out a backup phone, the one I used for media contacts and off-the-grid storage. And there it was. A login notification. Someone had used my old email. From an unrecognized IP. Location, Scottsdale, Arizona. She was sloppy now. Desperate. I traced the IP, ran a public search. Got a hit. A co-working space called the Hive Collective. And guess who was listed as a new social media strategist? Brittany Cole. She had moved to Arizona, reinvented herself, and was still trying to destroy me from 1,000 miles away. So, I booked a flight. I didn't tell Cameron. Didn't even tell Lexi, the journalist. This was personal. I landed in Scottsdale the next morning. Checked into a cheap hotel. Walked into Hive Collective with a coffee and a clipboard. Hi. I'm Marley from Focal Brand Consulting, I said cheerfully. I have a 10 a.m. meeting with Brittany Cole. They waved me in. And there she was. Blonde bun. Floral blouse. AirPods in. Looking like she hadn't tried to ruin someone's life 2 days ago. She looked up and nearly dropped her phone. I smiled. Miss me? She stood, lips parting. What the hell are you doing here? Oh, just following up on that little furniture shopping spree. And that fake message to my boyfriend. And, identity theft. Her face paled. You can't prove any of that. Oh, sweetie, I whispered. I can prove everything. I pulled out my phone, showed her the IP trace, the email trail, the credit transaction flagged under a Scottsdale location just blocks from Hive. I have enough to get you arrested. She sat down slowly, like a puppet with strings cut. You don't understand, she whispered. I didn't want it to go this far. You just couldn't stand the idea of me standing tall while you crawled. She looked up, and for a moment, her eyes weren't angry. They were hollow. I built everything around lies, she whispered. And now there's nothing left. I paused. I wanted to scream, to laugh, to destroy her. But instead, I stood up, leaned down and said, "That's the difference between us. You lie to escape. I tell the truth to win." Then I walked out. Later that night, I got a text from Cameron. "I know it wasn't you," she confessed. "I'm sorry I doubted you." I replied with a single line. "I don't need an apology. I need peace." He understood. And that was enough. 2 weeks later, Brittany was arrested. Identity theft, wire fraud, credit abuse. Her mugshot went viral. Former influencer. Former rising star. Now, just former.
Me?
I launched my own agency, Blake and Brand. First client? A viral startup Brittany had once laughed at. We signed a $100,000 campaign deal. The same week I got invited to speak at a Women in Media panel. My topic? What happens when the backup becomes the boss. And as I stepped on stage, lights hot on my skin, applause ringing in my ears, I finally smiled for real. They say revenge ends when justice begins. But what they don't say is that justice needs an audience. I never told this story to feel better. I told it because too many people have had a Brittany in their lives. Someone who smiled to their face and stole everything behind their back. Someone who looked like a friend, talked like family, but moved like a snake. So before I tell you what happened after Brittany's arrest, let me say this. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever been made to doubt your worth, your talent, or your sanity, subscribe. Because this isn't just my story, it's ours.
Now.
Let's finish this. Brittany spent 6 nights in county holding. She was out on bail within a week. And the moment she was free, she did what she always did. Ran straight to social media. "Hey guys," her video began, shaky camera in a dim room. "I know a lot has been said about me recently, but I want to clear the air." She blamed the stress, blamed online bullying, blamed me. She didn't deny the arrest, but she painted herself as the victim of a vindictive ex-friend with a vendetta. Her voice cracked. She faked tears. And once again, she ended with, "I just want to move forward in peace." But peace was never her goal. Control was. What she didn't know. I wasn't the only one she burned. Remember Jordan? The co-conspirator who helped set me up at Venvox? Well, turns out he didn't land a cushy new job like Brittany promised. She ghosted him after I exposed her. He reached out to me 3 weeks ago with a Dropbox folder. Inside were old Slack messages, secret recordings, even Venvox calendar entries with deleted meeting logs. One audio file caught Brittany's voice saying, "If Marley figures it out, I'll just leak something on her. These people are sheep. They'll believe the loudest voice." I uploaded the entire folder anonymously to a whistleblower blog with 2 million readers. They verified it, published it, and within 48 hours, Brittany's name was officially blacklisted from half the digital media industry. No sponsors, no publishers, no publicists would touch her. Then came the lawsuit. My lawyers filed a civil suit citing damages, identity theft, defamation, and loss of income. She countersued. But during discovery, her fake HR complaint, the forged screenshots, the credit card fraud, all laid bare. She settled. Out of court. But not quietly. Because I made sure it hit headlines. Former influencer pays 6-figure settlement in corporate sabotage scandal. She never recovered. As for me, I moved into a new office. Downtown, top floor. Blake and Brand now had 5 full-time staff. We launched a national campaign for a mental health nonprofit. The founder messaged me personally. "Your story made me fight for mine." That hit harder than any victory. Cameron and I were good. Not perfect. Not fairy tale. But honest. We still laugh about that rooftop party where it all began. And sometimes we just sit in silence, grateful that the storm passed. Together. But the true ending? That came last month, when I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside, a notebook. The same one Brittany used to carry during strategy meetings. Her name scratched out. Mine written in. And a note.
Handwritten.
You were always better than me. I just knew you'd never believe it unless I tried to destroy you first. You won.
Goodbye.
No signature. But I didn't need one. I tossed the notebook in the fireplace, watched it burn, and smiled. Because I didn't need her apology. I didn't need her regret. All I ever needed was my life back. So why did I share all this? Because I want you to know that revenge isn't about destruction. It's about redirection, turning pain into power, and silence into voice. If this story hit home, if it made you remember someone who tried to break you but didn't subscribe. Because we're not done telling stories like this. We're just getting started.